Hey, so you want to know exactly how Elite Algo works and what makes it tick, what makes it really good. So this is going to be my review of Elite Algo, and a couple things I'm going to go into is one, what is Elite Algo? How does it trade? And some of the major components of the Elite Algo system. So let's get started right away. So hello, my name is Keenan and I'm the creator of Wall Street Moses. And in this channel, we go over different trading education and teach people exactly how to win in the Forex, crypto, and stock market space. On top of that, I review different trading tools that will assist traders in being more efficient in trading and making trading just that much easier, because Wall Street Moses is our job to help people get to the other side and get to that promised land of being able to have profits, being able to enjoy trading, and really be a master in these markets. So with Elite Algo is a full comprehensive system with multiple different layers that help traders and help them see the markets without them having to second guess on what's going on in the market. Now, this is the Elite Algo website, and I'll have a link to it in the description below. But it trades all types of markets. It trades crypto, it trades Forex, trades options. You could do futures on it. I trade commodities on it as well. And I really like the way it goes, the way that it ticks, because there's a very specific way to really help traders see the markets, help them be efficient in trading. But I want to show you just a couple components of the Elite Algo system. So let's take it to the chart. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually go straight from scratch. So that way you can see exactly how it builds up. When you get the Elite Algo system, and you can only get it through the Elite Algo website, and like I said, I have that link in the description. But even if you try to look for it in TradingView, without you having the subscription, you're not going to even see it. The way you get it is you'll go into your invite only once you purchase, and you'll see Elite Algo there. So I'm going to start off with just the algorithm, the main component of the indicator. And there's multiple parts to it. So let's open up the settings. So one thing that I look at when I'm trading or looking at a software is, one, how much brain power could it save me in the process of trading? Because yes, I can look and identify a lot of different things with just a naked chart, but that still takes thinking, that still takes time to actually go about and do that. So when it comes to what I look for three different things. I look for trend of the asset, then I look for where are high points of interaction structure, and then where is the momentum kicking in the market. Those are the three different things that I look for: trend, structure, and momentum. So starting from the top, I like how the Elite Algo system starts with visualization. And what I mean by that is, if I turn on the dashboard, let me go ahead and I like to make it small and just leave it on its regular setting of simple. Then the dashboard pops up and it gives you trend and momentum, and even gives you multiple layers of the trend on multiple time frames. So let me actually increase it real quick so we can focus on that. So it tells you what strategy you're currently doing, where your settings are in the market. We're going to get into that in just a second. Then it tells us what it is suggesting for you to trade. So right now it has a counter trend trade out for a buy, even though the trend is bearish. And it's telling you how strong the trend is, because that can be a really hard component for people to see, is how strong trend is. You may be able to judge where the trend is going, but how reliable is that trend? And there's a lot of different factors and things that go on behind the scenes just within the raw data of the market that really tell you where trend is at and how strong it is. So Elite Algo does a great job of understanding trend and where the volume is happening in the market. As volume is going up. And if you can see, since this morning, it made a last dip down, and the momentum shifted back up for the later part of the day. And I can only imagine during London session, you may have something of a breakout coming back up. But the Elite Algo is already ahead of the system, and it's talking about the buy on this particular setup. It's counter trend, but it's showing you that there is bullish momentum, and you can see just by looking at the candles that there's bullish momentum. Then you have the multiple time frames of trend, and this is really important, especially when you're down in the lower time frames, wanting to scalp. If you're scalping on a lower time frame without any recollection of what's going on in the higher time frame, your scalping is not going to be as effective. So having this in front of you while you're scalping, it's going to give you a great idea of where you are in the market and what you need to be looking for in the smaller time frames that are going to be lining up with the bigger time frames. So let's go to the next part of the Elite Algo system. So it's actually, we'll leave the dashboard on. We're just going to make it smaller. So obviously the show signals is going to make appear or disappear this smart sell, smart buy, all the buy signals. You definitely want to always have that on. Well, here's what I like. You have different levels of trading. So you have the normal, which is what I use the most because it gives you just solid entries, and you can calibrate where the market is where the algorithm is looking for in the market to confirm a trade. And then you also have confirmed, and with the confirm, I'm gonna let that load. You're gonna have a different angle to take with the market. So a confirmed trade is your more secure trades. Now these are gonna be really good, especially if you're more conservative in the market. You see how it takes off a lot of the noise as far as how many signals is given and where you're looking to take the trade. But it's not going to give you as much entries as maybe the normal mode is, and that's because that's a more conservative entry. Then you have what's called Trend Scalper. Trend Scalper is one that focuses more on the momentum of the markets. So I like to use Trend Scalper to confirm an entry for a bigger position. So for example, if I'm on the 1 hour and I'm looking at the market, let me actually stay right here. If I'm on the 1 hour and I'm looking at the market and I'm seeing that there's a potential sell happening, I want to wait. If I want to get an earlier entry than what maybe the normal mode or confirmation mode to give me, I'll go to the trend scout mode and on a smaller time frame and see that momentum kick in on a smaller time frame, be able to get into it earlier and get a really good position on a bigger trade. So that's something you can take with that, because look at it, let's look at one of the changes. So here was a trend change or a momentum change. I'm going to call it a trend. But you see here, right where they all went green, right about here, on the close of this candle, there was a trend change. Now this is NAS. I wouldn't really trade based off of the 15-minute on NAS on my personal trading, but to say on a Forex pair, that's a very good place to get in on in the 15-minute if you're intraday trading. But if you're going into the markets, you can see that on that small time frame, that change of momentum, and you can get that entry. And you can look for those 2-to-1, 3-to-1 reward to risk entries. So if you're looking here, you can have something. Maybe you go to the low of the last movement and you look for that 2-to-1, 3-to-1. And before it really slowed down, you had a 2.5-to-1 reward to risk. As long as you get the 2-to-1 right there, you made a successful trade. And outside of that initial pullback, you had a really, really good entry. Now, obviously, it's going to be much smoother if you're going into the trend, like where this is right here. So, for example, at the close of, let me show you this candle here. It turned all the way back red. You could have got in at that point, and you still could have got a decent reward to risk. So right at the top, you would have put your stop loss. And then down here, you would have got your 1-to-1, so you would have been in a good trade. And then it went as far as about 1.3-to-1. But, that just gives you an idea Theoretically, I don't really get in on huge candles because that kind of puts you a little bit ahead of where you want to be in the market, but you get the idea. So moving on to the next part, you have the sensitivity. Now this is where, let me go back and switch it to the normal mode right here, because that's going to give you the biggest view when it comes to using the sensitivity. So the sensitivity is how much needs to happen in the market for the Elite Algo to give you a trade. So give you an entry or a signal based off of its many calculations. So the normal is 3. Now for me, the best way that I like to start off, I usually start off with about a 1.7. And then I zoom out. So let me actually do that while that's loading. I zoom out and I see where in the market, according to trend, is it giving me the trades, and is it giving me false signals at that sensitivity level? So if I look at if I go from here over, right, before the trend changed, from here over, I look at the trend. I look at all the sell positions. I want most of them to look like good orders or good positions. So I look here, and this is something that you can do when you first start trading a pair, because with Elite Algo, it focuses on getting you good entries on specific pairs that you have it on, because you don't want to, be going too much back and forth with Elite Algo, because Elite Algo is really good at maximizing a pair. So going into it, these positions look pretty good. Look like I could have just took the trade just based off the entry and made some pretty good money in the markets just taking the signals. Obviously you want to have, some more confirmations, but if you can get a good visual on just the signal itself of the software doing its job, then you have some pretty good settings. Now, what I see is I think I would want to take it up just a little bit as I get into here, because I see that I get a couple later entries right here. Still is pretty decent, but you get a couple later entries here. You don't have to make it perfect, but you can kind of, if you feel like you're getting too many, if you're getting some false signals, you want to take the sensitivity and put it back up. But so I'm gonna do 1.9, just a little bit more, and see if some of those trades actually disappear that I want to disappear. Okay, perfect. So that actually does what I was looking for. That's how you work with the sensitivity. You just kind of play with it based off of what you're looking at on the charts, and go off of there. So I'm gonna put it to 1.6 and just leave it there for a second. I'm gonna show you why in just a second. So going down, there's multiple different areas in the market when it comes to consolidation, when it comes to momentum, volume, a lot of different things. These next 5 components help you filter out the signals based off of when there isn't a good market or a good place in the market to take a trade, or to just give you the best opportunities up front. So the first one is your consolidation signals filter. And what this does is when the market is consolidating, it's not going to give you those signals during consolidated markets. It kind of filters out when the market is kind of left to right. So you saw, I think there was a couple of signals in here where there was a lot of up and down, and it took those signals away and waited for the market to open up more. And those are the signals that remain when the market is giving you a bigger range of motion. The next part is smart signals only, and I'm going to take off the consolidation filter. So the smart signals, these are going to be your more confirmed entries. So you have if we go back to the different settings, if you have the normal mode and the confirmed mode, this is kind of, smart signals only is kind of in between normal and confirmed. So with this, you can get a good number of trades, but still be a little bit conservative of what trades. And I like that combination because it's not going to keep me out of the market too long, but it's going to give me some good opportunities to interact with the markets right there. Then you also have the candle colors. So you can see, you can have it just go based off a trend, and it'll tell you what the trend is just based off the color of the candles. Now, what you're going to see when you first do it is probably not going to look correct, because you have to actually change the candle settings on TradingView for it to show. So what I like to do, I have a template for color bars just in general for TradingView. If you need an indicator to show color better, what you do, you see on here, I take the color out of the body, and then you take off the borders. So that's all you really got to do. Take the color out the body and disable borders. You can leave the wicks how you like them and continue just off of that. Now, with the candle set up that way, you can clearly see the different colors of the trend. Just red for downtrend, green for uptrend. But you can see that very clearly. So if you were a little bit confused on the way that it captures trend here, you can also see it from the candles. And also the way that I use is I use the trend wave to also determine trend if I don't have the candles as well. So there's multiple ways. You're not going to miss trend with Elite Algo. So going into the next part of it is going to go into momentum candles. And what momentum candles do is it shows you where the momentum is happening in the market. So in a sideways market, what it's going to do is going to show you the gray candles. So that way you know, hey, this is a time in the market where it may not be doing as much when it comes to the market itself. So during those moments, if you're looking for like maybe breakout trading, that type of stuff, it may not be the best time for that. So that's really simple in itself. The next part is high volume signals. So high volume signals is, let me take it off of smart signals because you don't want to put all of them together. I mean, you can, but you'll be really, really specific. The high volume signals only is going to tell you where the volume is kicking in the market. So if you're a volume trader, you trade a lot of volume entry level things, you can use this to maybe confirm your volume trades or confirm breakout trades. So you can even fuse some market structure intraday type trading into this type of software, this type of mode with Elite Algo. So this is something that you can use to see, okay, which way is the volume going? If we're getting a lot of orders in a certain area, I like to have it to where, like, say something like this right here, where you know you're getting downward momentum. Then all of a sudden you have large volume coming in, but you see the candles are a little bit weaker. But then you see it change back to the trend. That's a volume order block, and that's an institutional indication of what's going on in the market. So when I see something like that using this type of candles where it just quickly changes color and changes right back, then those are going to be some really good entries where you can catch some good trades. And as you can see from that point on, it just melts it down. So just something to help out with using volume candles. The next part is you're going to have your risk management. So this is going to kind of give you a trailing stop loss percentage. And, you know, trailing stop losses is, you know, it'll help you kind of give you a guide of where to move up your stop loss. I kind of have my own way of doing it myself, but for someone who doesn't really have a huge risk management plan, this is a very still simple and effective system that you can use. Swing low and swing highs. This is something that I like a lot because I'm a market structure trader. I like looking at the structure of the trade, the structure of the markets before getting into a trade. And a setting that I like to use with the swing low and swing highs, I like to go up to one of the more conservative settings. So it's not giving me counting every little thing. I want to only see the more important stuff. So you see, let me actually take off the take profit indicators. But as you can see, it'll give you the higher highs and higher and lower lows and things like that. I like to look at that because if I don't want to, you know, visually look at it myself, or if someone is not as adapt into knowing where's the low and where's the high. They can use that and trade market structure. And if you're new to market structure, don't really know how to trade it, I'll put a link in the video or a link on the top right card, and you'll be able to see exactly how to trade market structure. And it's the core component of how I personally trade. So combining market structure with this is a very, very effective way to use the Elite Algo system. So let's switch it back to normal so we can kind of see where we like to go with the market. So let's go to the trend cloud. Trend cloud is just going to be this part right here. It shows you, the wider the cloud, the stronger the trend, the thinner the cloud, the more weaker the trend, and what color the cloud is what the trend is. So a red cloud is going to be for downtrend, the up cloud is going to be green. But here is something I always have on, is trend only signals, because I only trade the trend. I'm not really concerned with counter trend trades. I think, me personally, I do quite fine with just looking for the trend and not trying to time the markets for reversals, even though doing a reversal every now and then can be fun. It's also very risky. It's more of an adrenaline pump from guessing the right area. But that's going to give you just the trend, and I like that. Like, this looks like, if we go back, this looks very clean. Very, very clean. So I know what the trend is. Like, I know if I see a lower low and I see a sell signal, I might be getting a good area of selling. Very, very simple. That's what Elite Algo makes happen. But the next part, I'm just going to go over just a little bit of the consolidation areas. So for me, I like understanding where my points of consolidation are, so I know what not to trade. And you can paint it as well, so you see how it shows you those consolidation areas. And people like to do break and retest off of these consolidation areas, which are pretty effective as well. To where you wait for example, you wait for the breakout of a pair, so something like this, so you have a breakout and you just wait for the break and retest. So you have a touch right here, you would get in at the close of the candle, and that would have been a nice little move up. Or you can do it with the trend, and you see it breaks out. This is the last downward consolidation. It breaks out of that with this candle, retested here, and within trend it gives you a bigger jump. So that's one way of using the consolidation candles. So like I said, whatever trader you are, this can help you. Now, this is one of my favorites. Very much one of my favorites, and I'm going to end it off with this, is the order blocks. I love institutional trading. And order blocks are an institutional level where the market likes to be at play in the system. So what I mean by that is these order blocks are going to be levels in the market that the market makers or large institutions could be working at. And these levels are very high value, support, resistance, really supply and demand zones. I wouldn't really think of it necessarily support and resistance, but more so points in the market that can cause and start a great move. So looking at the chart right now, if I get some momentum coming back down now, looking at the order blocks from here, is this could be a good area to sell. But if it breaks that, which I think it will, I really love this area for my next level of selling in the market. And once I get there and I see some wicks like this, I'm selling. So having that on is probably one of my biggest things with Elite Algo, having the trend only and having the order blocks with the high lows and lower highs. That's my personal method. Like, this is the way that I particularly trade Elite Algo. But other than that, the rest of the settings is pretty self-explaining. So you have your demand boxes, you have your, just your colors that you want to use. But that's basically the entire for the Elite Algo. The last part of Elite Algo is just the oscillator, and the oscillator just helps you out with seeing divergence and momentum in the markets. So One way that I like to use it is I see something like this where I have bearish divergence. So after that bearish divergence is I look for my next sell signal, and after the divergence I take the signal, and that's a great trade. So for example, I look for another bearish divergence right here. So you get a bearish divergence right after you get a sell signal from here. So from here down, that was a pretty good solid move. So that's why I always keep that on there as well. And then and another way is when I see that, this may be counterintuitive, but it's very effective. I see that the green bar has made its way up, but the trend hasn't changed. And then I get a, like it has to go high. But then I get another sell signal after it peaks. That's a great way. I think of it like a roller coaster. It gets really high, that means it's going to come down faster. That's the way I look at it. But this is the complete walkthrough of the Elite Algo mode. Like the oscillator is pretty self-explanatory. It has multiple levels of the time frame, and then from there you can see more types of divergences. You can change the period on the elite breakout filter. So a lot of different things you can play with here, but the main thing is the Elite Algo. I like it. I think it's a 9 out of 10. Now, what would make it a 10 out of 10 for me is if we could get color changes for bullish and bearish candles in the trend candle mode. Like I'm not a fan of it being all one color. I like seeing, like, it could be a different color set. So it could be a darker color set for bearish, it could be a lighter color set for bullish, and I can still see the bullish and bearish candles within the trend. Other than that, this is a well-made, very comprehensive system, and just off the indicator itself, you can get a lot of opportunities in the markets.